Welcome into Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. I'm Dan McLaughlin. In a very short time, the Ascension Charity Classic has become a fabric of the St. Louis sports community, and in fact, the St. Louis sports community as a whole. There's no doubt that sports fans around the region celebrate the Cardinals, the Blues, and the area colleges and universities. But the impact of the Champions Tour should not be overlooked for what it brings on the golf course, and most importantly, what it's bringing our community off the golf course in terms of awareness and money raised for charities in North County. This was the idea and vision of Nick Ragone from Ascension. In 2020, it was wiped out. The tournament was done because of COVID, and yet they still were able to donate to various charities. And now, since its inception, the Ascension Charity Classic has made more than $2.5 million in charitable donations to various deserving charities in North St. Louis. So let's bring in Nick Ragone, the architect behind the Ascension Charity Classic, into the show. Nick, congratulations on another great year.
You know, we didn't think that year one could go any better, and somehow year two is even more amazing. St. Louis loves this event. You know, in 2 short years now, it's become a staple of the sports landscape, and we couldn't be more thrilled.
So what was the difference this year as opposed to the last one a season ago?
You know, I think this year people knew what to expect. They knew that the parking would be easy, that it would be well run. And what was different is that we had more charities involved. We tried to expand the tournament this year to get more charities involved. Thanks to RSM, one of our partners, we had a putting challenge. We did more clinics, more things for kids. And most importantly, we added a second tournament, the PGA Classic, which is the Advocates Professional Golf Association, which is really a developmental tour dedicated to making the game more diverse and inclusive. And we held that event up at Glen Echo the same week, and there was a lot of appreciation and energy around the idea that this Ascension Charity Classic week, it's become a week now, is really about growing the game of golf, it's about giving back, and it's about making it more diverse and inclusive. And so I think that was one thing that we wanted to do, and we did it, and it added even more momentum.
How did that all come about?
You know, after the tournament last year, we thought, okay, this is great. We have to continue to build on it. And one of the things that people came up to me and said they appreciated most was that we put it in North City at Norwood on purpose to sort of highlight how we have to grow the game of golf. And it started getting an idea in my head, which is I had heard of the PGA. It's a great tour. It's been around for about 10 years. And thought, you know, this would be a great opportunity to add a second event, put it at Glen Echo, and really double down on the idea that we're going to grow the game of golf by making it more diverse, making it more accessible, and also giving back more. And so it was, and I called up the commissioner of the PGA, a guy named Ken Bentley, an amazing individual, and immediately shared the vision, and he was all in. And, you know, we had a press conference announcing it at Glen Echo in February of this year, and it was a packed house, and he'd done all sorts of media. And he said in their 13 years of their tour, they'd never had a press conference. And I thought, welcome to St. Louis.
And what was the response of those that saw that particular tournament?
You know, overwhelming. The players were so appreciative. You know, our goal with the PGA, and I told this to the PGA Tour champions, is to help that become a fully developmental tour with status on the PGA Tour, so that the winner of the PGA eventually will have access to the Korn Ferry Tour. And so for us to do that, we need the PGA Tour to buy into it. And I have spoken with the tour on numerous occasions. They love what we're doing here. They have said over and over again, the St. Louis model, they call it, of having a PGA Tour Champions event paired with an PGA event is the model of the future. And so the players, the Champions Tour players, we had so many text, email, and say, we love what you're doing. We want to be a part of your PGA event. We even had Nancy Lopez and Lee Trevino said one of the reasons why they decided to come here was because we had announced our PGA Classic. And so, and my vision in the future is to continue to grow that and maybe even someday host it at Normandy, which I think would be very special once that redesign is done. So we have our PGA tournament at Normandy. That would be ideal.
So now the Ascension is done for 2022. What's your takeaway from the tournament? What do you take away looking ahead?
You know, appreciation. I just take away that the St. Louis community in just a couple of years has adopted this event. I mean, St. Louis is such a great sports town. We obviously our twin pillars are the Cardinals and the Blues, and now we have soccer, we have NASCAR, we have so much going for us, and now golf is part of that. It's permanent landscape. If you think about it, just 3 years ago, PGA Tour had no events in St. Louis, and now we have 3. We have the Charity Classic, we have the BMW coming up at Belle Reve, and the President's Cup. And to go from none to 3, I don't think there's any other market in the country that has 3 PGA Tour properties. I think that speaks volumes of the work that we've done, but more importantly, how engaged and committed St. Louis is to live sports and golf and giving back, because that's the tour's model. And so what I take away from it is this has really struck a resonant chord with the St. Louis sports community, and we're already thinking up ways to make it bigger and better for next year.
Nick, hang tight. Up next, we'll take you behind the scenes of the Ascension Charity Classic 2022 and the entire week. That's next on Scoops with Danny Mac here on Fox 2. Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2 is brought to you by Schnucks, Stratum Structural Systems, and Hair Saloon for Men. Welcome back to Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2. We're taking you back to the Ascension Charity Classic. As Nick Ragone said in our last segment, this truly has become a full week of golf in St. Louis. So what is it all about? Let's go behind the scenes and take you there.
Ascension is very conscious, in terms of making intentional efforts to make a difference when it comes to diversity. And one aspect of that is your community engagement. How are you engaging yourself in the community? This is one way of doing it. St. Louis and golf really blend very well together. And when you think about this location where we're at here in North St. Louis County, we have 3 historic courses right here within a 5-mile radius of one another. It makes all the sense in the world to try and do an event here that not only promotes the area, but also promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion in the game of golf.
North St. Louis County makes up the largest population of minorities in the entire state. And to have this opportunity with the APGA to be right here in this community, I mean, again, it's just unprecedented, and it's something that I'm extremely excited about.
Golf is one of those sports that, again, I guess in the early 60s, it was not where it needed to be, but once amongst the civil rights movements and people moving into the game, they realized that they're missing an opportunity to really speak to a group of athletes who could really come in and have an impact.
And this is why I love sharing the story of Charlie Sifford and others like Lee Elder, is because we know golf is for everyone. They knew golf was for everyone. They also knew that they were going to have to battle a lot of terrible things to get us to the point where we are now. And I think it's up to us to honor them in the way of their sacrifices that they have done, that they have given over their entire lives, to make sure that we continue to press forward. And I think that's what we are trying to do, is make sure that everyone understands that golf is for everybody.
Once the door was open, then that allowed people like the individuals who will be having at the APGA, the Advocates Professional Golf Association. Those guys are walking in the doors that were opened by those pioneers. And so we are happy to really not only to inspire them to continue their dream, but to give them access and the opportunity to do what they want to do in their careers.
My first professional event was actually on the APGA Tour a week after I graduated from college. It gives us a home and a place to play, that camaraderie, the brotherhood. There's no other corporations or tours out there that are trying to help minorities the way the APGA and Ken Bentley is doing. So it's been amazing, and I'm excited to see what the future has for us. For me, it's been a little bit different because I'd already been a pro for a while before the APGA even came along. I didn't know anyone, so I was just out there on my own, learning my way on my own. I didn't have anyone that was older than me that was doing it, especially didn't have anyone that looked like me that was out there doing it. So I wish there would have been an APGA tour when I
when I came out of college.
My most fondest memories of me playing golf are me over at Grand Maria with my grandfather. After, you know, getting out of school, he gets out of work and I'm begging him to take me out there. And he was a really good player, and he knew what it took to be a good golfer. So he knew that I had to go out and practice. He knew I needed the golf clubs. Without him, I wouldn't have access to the game of golf and to the things I needed to be successful. So I'm very blessed and fortunate to have him in my life. And I know that, you know, a lot of kids don't have that access, so I'm trying to find ways, and golf is also trying to find a way to create that introduction to the game of golf to many kids that wouldn't, you know?
Me and my dad learned the game by ourselves, and I didn't have a coach until my second year as a pro. So yeah, so me and my dad just figuring it out, you know, doing what we can do. But you know, the APGA has changed the way I go about things, and now them providing me a coach and then giving me the opportunity to play at high-level golf courses and test my game. It's been an honor, and it's been a great journey so far.
You know, growing up in Ferguson, I never envisioned, you know, pro golfers being people of color. Clearly, we always idolized Tiger Woods, but he was a very rare figure. He wasn't the person we saw every single day in our community. So to see guys coming out with the APGA, not only being leaders in our community in terms of advocating for the game of golf, but to be able to do it right in the community that I grew up in is extremely humbling.
And it's good to see that, you know, people are actually taking action behind, you know, saying that they want to see more diversity in the game of golf, saying that they want to see golf look more like the real world. And to have that support, it means a lot and definitely motivates us.
As a society, we saw that, wow, we can sit next to one another and enjoy this game no matter you black, white, CEO, custodian, or whatever. You know, sports is that one thing that can always kind of bring us together. And that's what it has done over the years. And we continue to break barriers.
All kids in general too, like, I want them to see chasing your passion. I think no matter what they want to do, golf will help for sure. So I want them to pick up and just try the game of golf.
Just follow your dreams pretty much. If you follow your dreams and you're going about it the right way, you know, I'll believe that good things will happen. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to be 50 years old and still playing the game that I love. And hopefully kids can follow my footsteps and do the same thing, even better.
I want them to see hope, that there's hope to play golf at a high level, even being a Latino or, you know, minority, that you can go out there and do it, that it's possible. And I'm hoping to break that stereotype and inspire kids growing up.
If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, architect, whatever you want to be, I think golf can aid that career and give you just a lot of friendships and experiences that help with that.
When you look at what golf is holistically, you look at the, you know, the values that associate, the fact that you got to call your own penalties on yourself, the fact that you shake the hand of your opponent, look them in the eyes after your round of golf. You got 4 hours on the golf course. You can find out a lot about someone's values, about their morals. That's why it's a great sport, and that's why so many people love it, and why we continue to, you know, do the work that we can to promote the game to everyone. It's because we understand that golf can be something that can be that can bring people together.
Up next, what do the legends of the game think about coming to St. Louis and competing in St. Louis at the Ascension Charity Classic? That's next on Scoops with Danny Mac here on Fox 2. Scoops with Danny Mac on Fox 2 is brought to you by Lordo's Diamonds, STLTaxLawyer.com, Triad Bank, and Lou Fuse. Welcome back to the show on Fox 2 as we dive into the Ascension Charity Classic. Let's welcome back in Nick Ragone. Nick, we just saw an amazing behind-the-scenes look at the tournament week. What are the greats of the game saying about playing in this event in St. Louis?
We hear a couple things. One is the course. They absolutely love it, and Mike Knoll and the staff at Norwood are amazing. It's one of their favorite venues. It's a traditional course. Their favorite greens anywhere on the PGA Tour, so they love the course. They absolutely love the build-out and the fan attendance. I mean, I've had, you know, David Toms, Bernard Loinger, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, on and on and on, say this feels like a big venue PGA Tour event. And these are guys who are all superstars. They played in front of the biggest crowds on the biggest stage for their whole career, and they miss that sometimes on the Champions Tour. You know, some of the venues are a little bit smaller, but they say to a person, this feels like a PGA Tour event, and they get juiced up to play here. I mean, we had one of the strongest fields of the year outside of the majors. We had 8 of the top 10 leaders. And so they love that. They also love, the caddies love coming here. You know, we take care of the caddies. We take them out to Busch Stadium. We entertain them. We make the parking for them easy, food, hospitality. And so we really try to treat the players well, the caddies well, make it a great experience, and deliver a PGA Tour style event, which they just love.
All right, this may be a real tough question for you to answer in your position, but who do you think is the most popular player to come through this event? And the fans, they just love to see him.
It's actually a pretty easy question. It's John Daly by far. I mean, the #1 request we get for people in the Pro-Ams, they always say, hey, can I pick somebody? And it could be, and it's always John Daly. And so it's amazing how popular. He's still the Pied Piper of golf. And being a Missouri native and having a connection to St. Louis and being a Cards fan certainly helps. And so JD is the name that keeps popping up. People love being around him. But, what's really cool is that, we have 81 players in our field, and when I talk to fans randomly, most of them look through the tee sheet and they know virtually all the names. If you go to a PGA Tour event, you might know 15 or 20 names, but I mean, these are guys, even, you have the Strickers and the Furiks and the Els. If you look at Freddie Couples, he won a few weeks ago at 63, shooting a 60. Bernard Longer won at 64. I mean, they're still playing highly competitive golf. Steve Stricker, Padraig Harrington, I mean, he hits it as long as anybody in the big tour. I mean, these are guys that can play, and the fans know who they are, and you've seen it up close. In the Pro-Ams, they're talking to their partners. They're accessible. They're friendly. They get that. They're getting the ultimate mulligan in life, and they appreciate it.
Padraig Harrington wins this past year, so pretty darn good champion for you guys.
Great champion. David Toms in the first year, you couldn't have done it at a Central Casting, and then to follow that up with the best player on Champions Tour, in my estimation, Padraig Harrington, a larger-than-life personality. The fans loved him. I saw a lot of Irish flags following him around. And like David Toms said a lot of really nice things at the conclusion of the tournament, how much they appreciated the fan attendance and us giving back. And the players follow, by the way, the events. I mean, they all know. They read the media. We do a lot of media here. They read about the event. They know it. They like coming here. They become ambassadors for it. And so, if you look at Norwood, the history of it, the winners it's created, Ben Hogan in '48, Gene Littler, Lee Trevino, David Toms, Padraig Harrington. Those are like 5 Hall of Fame names right there, great players, and I think that speaks a lot of Norwood and the tournament.
So Nick, you have a commitment with the tour to continue to put this event on, but what is the long-term goal, meaning for you? Is this an event that you see putting on for generations to come? What's the next step?
We hope so. That's the vision, for this to be an anchor tenant in the St. Louis community for a long time. And I could tell you, having Emerson and Worldwide, Emerson being our presenting sponsor and Worldwide a founding partner, having 2 great companies immediately sign on, even before we played the first event, during the height of COVID, both of them saying this is important to the community. And virtually every major company in the area has been supportive because they know this is a win for St. Louis. And so, our initial contract's 4 years, but in reality, we want to see this here in perpetuity because I think it's important for St. Louis, it's important for North St. Louis County, it's important for the charities. And St. Louisans love live sports, and I think the way the corporate community has embraced it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, that's what makes part of what makes St. Louis so special, is that our corporate citizens are so committed to giving back and investing in the community.
All right, the most important part, you mentioned the charities earlier. Describe what the charities you support do for kids and for the community in North St. Louis.
We're so blessed that we have 3 wonderful charitable partners, the Urban League, Mary Grove, and Boys and Girls Club. And each of them, they serve underserved communities. I mean, if you look at what the Urban League has done, particularly during COVID, and Michael McMillan, their leader, is extraordinary, the way they were a place for people to get resources that they need during COVID. Boys and Girls Club created a safe place for kids and continue to. And Mary Grove, which is an amazing charity in North St. Louis County that helps abused and at-risk teens. I mean, all 3 of those organizations are pillars of our region and that have a long history of giving back and really investing in, at-risk kids, teens, and making sure that nobody gets left behind. And so to have the focus of our event be about giving back and having those 3 anchor tenant charities makes it all worthwhile. And I could tell you, having visited all 3 and spent many time with all 3, It's not an abstraction. The money that we're able to give back helps them care for more and more people. It touches lives, it changes lives, and that really means something to us. This isn't just, you know, a number for the sake of being a number. It's about changing lives, and I think that's what we're doing.
Finally, Nick, this tournament, it's your baby, but you're helping so many people. How good does it just make you feel?
You know, it makes me feel good that the team, that the vision, you know, it's not often that you have a vision in your head and then in reality it plays out better, but the 3-year run here, you know, we had an idea, and this has been so much better than that idea, and it's because of the team. It's my colleague Steve Spratt, it's Alonzo Bird, it's Dan Sullivan, it's Tim Heitman, it's all of Norwood, it's our volunteer, it's our charitable partners, it's our corporate partners, it's our partners in the media and others. It takes a village to create something special, and we've created something special, and I think the best is yet to come.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tickets are on sale now for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic at ascensioncharityclassic.com, a tremendous event that's truly making a difference in St. Louis. For Nick Ragone, the team at Ascension, I'm Dan McLaughlin. I'll talk to you next Sunday on Fox 2.